You're watching Byline Wilmington on CBS 10 WILM. Here's your host, Don Ansell.
Brian Mull is our guest. We're talking about Seahawk basketball. The one question I didn't ask you was, so who do you think is going to be coach? I mean, do you have...
Don, that, it depends if you ask me in the morning or if you ask me in the evening, if you ask me on Monday or Tuesday. I don't know. They do have some strong candidates interested. I think it's important that they hire someone who can coach the team, who has proven that they can coach a basketball team, can handle, that has a staff, and
build one.
And can understands the model here, what they need to recruit, how they need to recruit, and develop talent within that framework.
And all that's gone down with the team in somewhat of disarray, what kind of impact does that have on the recruiting efforts?
Well, it certainly doesn't help.
No.
Everybody else is out right now, evaluating players, recruiting. I'm not sure if this is a contact period, but they can at least go out and kind of evaluate and get their list together.
But don't they need to make an announcement soon so they can get into the recruiting, so this coach can get into recruiting people?
Absolutely, and that will be one of the first tasks that he and his staff, and that's why if you hire someone who's already a head coach, he has a staff in place. He doesn't have to go through that process, which sometimes can take weeks or months. And those guys can spread out and hit the country running, so to speak. And absolutely, recruiting is the lifeblood of any program.
Yeah.
If you're not bringing in 2, 3, 4 players a year, it's going to catch up with you at some point.
All right, so academia says, why have athletics become such an important part of the university's foundation in our system of higher education?
Because more people get fired up about a basketball game than they do about a chemistry exam. It's the bottom line. I think I heard the other night that when Lehigh played Kansas in the first round of the tournament, Little Lehigh University was the number 2 item on Google search during that game.
So it brings attention.
Sure.
Which brings resources.
Absolutely. Which creates a positive atmosphere. I mean, it's even happened at Duke University, which always had high academics, but the success of the basketball team strengthened that, even more.
Now, when Moss was demoted, relieved of his coaching duties, it was about a week before the UNCW homecoming game. Poor timing?
Interesting timing, certainly.
You think it was timed out specifically to get attention, or?
No.
It certainly got more attention than it might have had it been done at the end of the season.
Sure, and you wonder, again, in hindsight, doing it in the middle of the season, you gain a certain competitive advantage. But now here we are a few weeks after the season with no coach in place. They probably squandered any advantage that they had. So the timing of it is a bit of a head scratcher. It could have been a impulsive decision coming off of a 39-point defeat the night
or maybe
before.
they wanted some lead time to get all of this in place before they went out and recruited, which hasn't happened yet.
Certainly, but
in the final analysis, UNCW's women's basketball program is also underachieving this season, but the coaching staff remains stable, and it raises some question: are there different standards applied to the women's program as compared to the men's program?
I think so.
Yeah.
I really do. At the end of the day, just the.
I would imagine they would say no.
But the interest level is not the same. But there is a group of the fan base that wants that program to be successful too, and I think that staff will be under evaluation at the end of this season as well.
Another strong UNCW sport, baseball, has been falling short of expectation this season. What's your take on that?
The baseball program is going to be fine. I think they got off to a bit of a rough start, but from what I understand, there's too much talent, and Mark Scalf is one of the best coaches anywhere around. I think, by the end of the season, the postseason conference tournament, I think they'll be fine.
NCAA, we're sort of in the middle of that now. I'm not going to ask you for any predictions.
Thank you.
But what about Kansas and Villanova out, like the number 1, number 2 seed? That was a big surprise.
That's the beautiful thing about the NCAA tournament is we're talking, here we are in the second week of the tournament, we're talking about St. Mary's, we're talking about Cornell, we're talking about Northern Iowa, not exactly national powerhouses. And I think that's what every fan, whether they're at VCU or UNC Wilmington or Georgia Mason or wherever, that's what every fan, aspires to. That can be our team with, the right people in place.
I want to take a 360 and talk about something else. And most people probably don't know that you were a Wilmington City amateur golf champion in 2008?
2008.
Yeah. And it's you have a great love for the game.
Absolutely.
Yeah. How long have you been playing golf? How'd you get into it?
I've been playing since I could walk.
Yeah,
you
just
my father and uncle were both PGA club professionals.
Okay.
And I was very fortunate in that regard. Was exposed to the game. Just kind of fell in love with it when I was 10, 11, 12 years old, playing competitively, and it's a good avenue for my competitive nature.
All right, so some of your thoughts on the Tiger Woods tabloid circus, briefly, because we're almost out of time.
Well, I think it's been
overcovered.
Yes, absolutely. Unlike anything we've ever seen, I think some of it was deserved, but at the same time.
But don't you sort of attract that attention to your private life when you become such an icon and when you make millions and millions and maybe $1 billion off of your public image?
Absolutely, and there's never been a wider gap between the perception and reality. We had a perception of Tiger Woods. We had this picture of him that we all wanted to believe or believed, and the cold hard truth, and he was living a double life, as he said the other night.
Should we judge him? I mean, or who's going to throw the first stone? I mean, the media did, obviously.
Sure. I hope. Personally, I just hope for the best for Tiger.
How do you think he'll do in Augusta?
I think he'll be in contention. I don't think he'll win, but I think he'll be in contention.
Yeah.
I think he's on the leaderboard on Sunday, but falls a little bit short.
I'll tell you, there'll be a lot of people watching. It's going to be a highly rated. Probably maybe the highest rated ever.
I would think so.
Masters.
Absolutely.
Brian, thank you for joining us.
Thanks.
Great talking with you. Folks, we'd like to wish our station and Capital Broadcasting congratulations on our 10-year birthday, which was this past Tuesday. So happy birthday, CBS 10 WILM. That'll do it for this week's Byline Wilmington. We'll see you next week. I'm Don Ansell.
You've been watching Byline Wilmington on CBS 10 WILM. Join us every Sunday morning at 11 as we explore the issues that concern you.